How to take care of Phalaenopsis orchids at home. Taking care of the Phalaenopsis orchid is not a difficult thing, but it is essential to know each of these aspects of cultivation well, which will be discussed in this video, such as temperature, humidity, pot, substrate, light, watering, and replanting to achieve the best possible results. If you're new here or already enjoying this subject and want to be notified of the next videos, subscribe to the channel, like it, and share it with a friend. The ideal temperature for Phalaenopsis should be pleasant, ranging from a minimum of 15 degrees Celsius to a maximum of approximately 25 degrees. Basically, in a less precise way, if the temperature is unpleasant for us, it is being bad for Phalaenopsis, be it cold or hot. However, in order to obtain flowering, in addition to good light, it is essential that temperature variations occur between day and night around 10 degrees. Stable temperatures directly affect flowering. The lack of humidity in the air is a problem for Phalaenopsis and orchids in general. In addition to the leaves dehydrating, becoming leathery and limp, directly affects the appearance of new sprouts and the development of the orchid. If you want to see a beautiful and happy orchid, never ignore the humidity. Humidifiers or containers of water covered with sand to prevent the proliferation of mosquitoes are good alternatives to increase humidity on dry days. To choose a good substrate depends a lot on the person's climate and cultivation style. In other words, a substrate that is good for one person may not be good for the other person. I grow Phalaenopsis on pure charcoal, pine bark, and mix of pine bark with charcoal and coconut husk, as well as sphagnum moss. All of them are good here for me. What varies is the frequency of watering, where for the climatic conditions that I have here, the charcoal for drying faster, I water every day. The mix twice a week, and the sphagnum moss that retain plenty of humidity, I water on average once a week. However, all of these substrates work and are very good. My tip is, whoever wants an easier cultivation, always choose a substrate that dries faster. The type of pot for Phalaenopsis is also quite personal, where everyone likes a type. I particularly like the transparent and perforated ones very much. I see that the Phalaenopsis love this type of pot, mainly because the roots of it can slightly photosynthesize. Allow us to see how the roots are and makes it easier to water, where we have the color of the roots as an indication of when we should water. When they are green, we should wait until they are all silver to water. This way, it avoids overwatering and rotting the roots. As for the size of the pots, never use a large pot size for a small orchid. In addition, taking longer to dry, facilitating the rotting of small roots, it harms rooting, and not to mention unnecessary expense. Phalaenopsis also like clear glass pots, clay pots, and wood baskets. There are 3 types of watering that can be used for Phalaenopsis, where one consists of spraying, the other watering the orchid with running water using a watering can or hose, allowing the water to pass through the substrates, and the third one by completely submersing the pot, leaving it submerged for 5 minutes. It is what I like to do. This last type of watering is very good for substrates with greater drainage, such as vegetable charcoal, pine bark, or stone. Whoever wants to do a test, I frequently use and notice that Phalaenopsis love this type of watering. However, to avoid spreading diseases, it is recommended that each orchid has its own container or decorative pot to do the submersion. Spraying also works. I also use it, especially for pots without perforations or substrates with high moisture retention. This type of technique is very good for those who live in an apartment or grow indoors and have few specimens. And another very important tip for Phalaenopsis is not to allow water to accumulate in the leaf joints because it can easily cause rotting in these parts and is very common especially among beginners. To avoid this problem, the Phalaenopsis can be planted at an angle making the water drain by itself. If it is in the summertime, water it in the morning, or better yet, dry it with a piece of paper when necessary and avoid letting water accumulate by attending more to watering the roots. As for the luminosity that the Phalaenopsis needs, we have to be careful not to offer too little to the point of leaving it weak and susceptible to diseases and not developing properly, and not too much to cause severe burns on the leaves. And for that, we have to avoid exposure in the hottest periods of the day or to use suitable shade screens so that they do not suffer burns and can bloom, as light is the main ingredient for this to occur. What I like to do in this case is to offer maximum light to the point of not causing burns. Regarding the replant, as it is a monopodial growth orchid, the ideal is to leave planted in the middle of the pot. It is recommended to replant on average once every 2 years, but it can vary according to the care and type of substrate used. Dry or dead roots must be cut. When cutting, use cinnamon powder in the cuts, always leaving the orchid very firm in a pot so that it can fix its roots in a substrate and develop normally, avoiding replanting for any reason. If you liked this video and want to receive more videos like this, leave your like and subscribe to the channel.